This time on Video Game Tango, we're talking Nintendo Direct and Sony's State of Play. Nick's got some amazing Stellaris-based news, but we've got several upcoming games, some old, some new, and major announcements at the beginning and the end of the show, so stick around or skip around for all of it.
Nick here, and our precast discussions about God of War and penis tattoos has me firmly believing that Kratos has Jormungandr down there.
Hi, I'm Josh, and increase your watching by 60% with me and Video Game Tango.
My name's Andy. This is Video Game Tango. Are we ready, boys?
Oh, yeah.
Ready.
We had,
Absolutely.
just in the last day, Nintendo Direct and Sony's State of Play.
Now, thankfully, there weren't so many games, so we actually let Nick be on the podcast this week.
Yeah, the joke here is that you weren't allowed on the podcast because we had too many games last week.
Way too many games.
But just,
9,000.
Yeah, too many games. So, what everybody has been waiting for from Nintendo has been officially announced and
Mario and the Rabbids.
has a release date.
Knack 4, baby.
Knack 4! Just kidding. It's The Legend of Zelda,
Yeah, duh.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Is it tears or tears?
You know, that's a good question.
I feel like it could be either or. What does your heart tell you?
Heart tells me it's going to be more Zelda.
Yes.
I mean, my heart tells me it's Tears of the Kingdom, but it could be either or.
I mean, so listen, not a lot of information is out about Tears of the Kingdom.
Really about anything in general.
Yeah, honestly, the trailer that we got was short and bittersweet. Too short, didn't show enough gameplay. Like, we get to see like a grand total of 11 seconds of Link happening here.
He jumps off a thing.
But we do have a release date.
There's barely a hi-ya or a throwing of a pot. I mean...
That's a pretty big pot. He's throwing that.
Yeah, that's a big-ass pot. Coming May 12th, 2023. So we have an official release date on the new Legend of Zelda. Sequel to Breath of the Wild. It looks like we're getting more Breath of the Wild. Not a lot to be shown from this trailer. But the hype is there. I'm ready.
Everything in the trailer is extremely vertical.
Yes.
Things they're falling at speeds or climbing at heights. So.
The end game of Breath of the Wild does get very vertical. And it seems like they're playing more on the verticality in this, just based on the trailer. I mean, it's what we get, right? But
some of the theming seems Aztec to me.
Yeah, but it did in the first game.
Oh, did it in the first? Like, yeah. So, like, to my great shame, I haven't played a main title Zelda game since Wind Waker.
I mean, there are worse Zeldas to miss.
Yeah, but I really want to play Breath of the Wild, though, and this one, I mean...
It's a big one. You would love it.
Yeah, I might just have to bite the bullet and buy it.
It is the least expensive console out there.
Right.
You can buy a Switch and both Zelda games on it for less than what a Series X or PS5 would cost, right? So as far as investment goes, yeah, absolutely worth it. Then you get the mainstream Mario games and the games that we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, there are honestly a few out on the Switch coming out that look pretty dope. But yeah, man, that even though we didn't get much Zelda, like, dude, that was childhood.
Yeah,
right. That was childhood. Like, we talked last week about how my favorite game. It was my favorite game because it looked like Link to the Past, right? Mm-hmm. Honestly, Zelda's been on our minds. So, yeah, kudos to Nintendo for somehow tapping in there and bringing it out.
For sure. Now, have you thought about getting a Switch Lite?
I've considered it, but I want to be able to play on the TV. I don't like the idea of a purely mobile thing. Like, I mean, I'm a big boy. I don't want a Game Boy. I want a fucking Nintendo.
I get you.
I'm a game man.
That's why. Yes. Let's roll in that for a second. That's why I bought the Nintendo Switch instead of the Switch Lite. Because I wanted to be able to play it on the big screen when I wanted to. And it is really nice being able, like, having a long gaming session in bed or at the desk, and then just being able to bring it in with you to poop.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
like absolutely. I mean, no more, pausing to go date. Or if I do want to lay in bed and play the thing rather than sit in the living room or whatever, then that's that's cool. But I want the option. I don't want to be forced into handheld gaming only. The only thing I'm going to do that for is the Steam Deck.
Yeah. But it's not it's not handheld only.
Yeah.
Cloud saves enable you to go right back to the game on your PC when your PC is accessible. You know what I mean?
Sorry, we're talking about Nintendo, and I somehow brought Steam into this. Sorry about that.
We're talking about video games. It's all good, dude. But getting back to Nintendo, we do have more announcements. One of them is Pikmin 2. Pikmin 4. What year is this?
God, yes.
Pikmin 64.
For me, this is Pikmin 2 because I never played Pikmin 2 or 3. Because it's been a long time since I've had a Nintendo console, to be honest. Yeah. No Wii, no Wii U. I played.
First one was GameCube, right?
It was GameCube, yeah. So the first one I played on the GameCube. Now, things don't look terribly different between the GameCube version, the original, and Pikmin 4.
My sister really liked this game when I had it, because I had a GameCube, but my sister really liked the original Pikmin. I never really played it.
Great concept.
At the end of the day, you take your different colored little mans, throw them at different tasks because they do them better, and then you win the game. It's a really simple concept, but it was a lot of fun. Pikmin, I probably put more time in Pikmin than I played in most games on the GameCube. It's really good for pick up and go kind of play, and you do feel like you get better at the game as you go. So playing it a second time was that much better on the new go around. It's before we had things like New Game Plus really and stuff like that. So I was really just playing the game again, but it was good enough that I beat the game and then picked it right back up from the beginning. So
nice.
Yeah. So that is Pikmin 4.
Yeah, I mean, colorful, looks good, and we have a to be announced anyway, so sometime in 2023.
Pikmin 4 is, yes, to be announced in 2023, yeah. Hondo P. Next up, we've got another long-running series, much longer than Pikmin.
Flembum.
We've got Fire Emblem Engage.
Yeah. If I didn't know any better, I'd say this is their first move into 3D.
It's not. It's not. No, they had another game on the Switch, I believe, previous to this one that is also in 3D. Okay. They may have more. It's actually another series that I haven't picked up in a really long time. I haven't played a Fire Emblem game since the SNES.
GBA was the last time I played one.
I might have played one on the GBA. That it's possible that was the last time I played it because I did get an SP after a while. But I did love the Fire Emblem games, even though I never owned it and I had to emulate them. I did enjoy the Fire Emblem games for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Fire Emblem is, for me, just one of the many series that I play when I'm dying to play Final Fantasy Tactics 2, but there isn't one. So you try to find games like XCOM or Fire Emblem to fill that void in your heart. But no, if you can get over the ridiculous, stupendously silly anime storyline, if you haven't played Fire Emblem, it's like XCOM or Final Fantasy Tactics. But your main characters, if they die in the story, they're dead. So it can change the outcome of the events depending on who you keep alive and whatnot.
Also getting like little cutscenes of the action happening between characters that are on the grid is kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of little like interstitial, non-cinematic narrative events while you're fighting,
which I think that's cool. Being able to see the action happen in like what almost looks like a fighter style one-on-one combat scenario is pretty cool. Now, I mean, a lot of the units represent more than a character. They represent a unit of characters, but they're not represented on screen like that. But I've always thought that was cool. Personally speaking, I felt, especially back in the day, that separated it from your XCOMs and that style of game. And then there's also the RPG-esque narrative that's happening, that's surrounding it. Yeah.
I mean, your main character's hair looks like a firework, so
you know what to expect. Accurate. Yeah. Marth is back in this one though.
Or at least the Obi-Wan ghost of Marth.
I mean, Marth. From my understanding, it's been a long time since Marth has been in a Fire Emblem game.
Wow.
So most people know Marth as just the Super Smash Bros.
I was
character.
gonna say, like, that's really my introduction to him is Smash Bros. Is Marth and Roy, and Smash Bros. Is like, I knew they came from Fire Emblem. I read a little bit about the game.
Yeah. It's like trivia. You know, nobody's played a game with Marth in it, but they know the trivia around it. Right.
Exactly. But I really kind of hope that they're gonna do the little anime thing in there with the game. It looks really fun and action based.
The gameplay, they've found their style.
Yep.
If you like it, you like it. Yeah, just beware. It is definitely a JRPG when it comes to writing.
Very much so.
That's why.
It's also pretty cool to have. I mean, a game as old as we are just keep on cranking right into the modern age and being popular enough, right? That like that's kind of cool. That
there's a few. The Atelier series, they have a new game in that one. Rune Factory's been around forever.
Yeah,
played the first one back in the day. But we'll talk more about those later.
Speaks to its longevity as a series, right? You know,
they aren't on the list, but if you'd like to talk about them, we absolutely could. What is on the list, though, is a big one. It's Octopath Traveler 2. The second of the Octopath Traveler games, another Square Enix fare. Lauded for its interesting art style and its narrative-driven RPG role-playing.
You get to play as 2 Octopodes now.
You get to play as 8. So, Octopath Traveler 2, I have a thing for this one.
Absolutely gorgeous. Same as the first one.
God, it's so good. Yeah, 100%. It's you put pixel art in the hands of AAA studios that have done pixel art for the last 40 years. They're probably going to do it pretty well.
Yeah.
In the world of Celestia, 8 new travelers venture forth into an exciting new era. Where will you go? What will you do? Whose tale will you bring to life? Every path is yours to take. Embark on an adventure all your own. The story takes place in Celestia, a land comprising an eastern and western continent divided by the sea. It is a bustling era wherein large vessels navigate busy sea routes and the power of steam gives birth to new technologies. Some people thrill to glamorous stars of the stage and industry, while others are brought to tears by war, plague, and poverty. In this faraway realm, 8 new travelers hailing from different regions venture forth for their own reasons. Step into their shoes and explore the land as you see fit, using their unique talents to aid you along your journey. So, 8 main characters, all with different unique abilities, especially when it comes to combat, but also different themes, visually and otherwise.
Now, having not played the first one, but only really hearing about it, I believe you switch back and forth through these characters. It's not like they're all in one party.
Right. You do, yes. Yeah. So different narratives, different storylines for each individual character. I don't know if that's exactly the formula that they're carrying forward in this one.
I think it's got a bit of a Crash feel where some of them meet up.
Yeah. But, I mean, Octopath Traveler has been on my list since it came out. It's gotten nothing but serious accolades from its fans, and it's something that I've always meant to check out. Fortunately, it's not a Switch exclusive. It is available on other platforms. Steam, PS4, PS5, Switch, and it comes out on February 24th, 2023.
Nice to have a solid date on that. Now, recently we've been doing covering a lot of the indie games.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, go back and give those a listen if you haven't yet, guys. And that was the hallmark of those indie presentations was, man, that pixel art was beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Who would have thought it just keeps getting better?
I mean,
you're like it's pixels.
I know, yeah.
It's so good, but nope.
Man, top of the line. It was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous art. I haven't played a lot of Square Enix games, so it might be fun to try something like that.
Yeah, dude. Octopath Traveler is supposed to be really good. I can't speak too highly of recent Final Fantasies. Your Dragon Quests, same thing. You're kind of getting the same formula over and over again. Final Fantasy VII, I know you played. I would recommend playing the remake. The remake wasn't groundbreaking, right?
Right. But
Not like the first Final Fantasy VII was, but it was a very good game. Highly recommend it. And speaking of Final Fantasy VII,
Final Fantasy VII retwinned the combined asterisk.
almost actually, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion.
Okay.
Crisis Core Final Fantasy Reunion follows the story of Zack Fair, a young warrior admired by the boys.
He's brunette Cloud.
Destined to save the world, trusted by men renowned as heroes of legend, and loved by the girl who holds the fate of the planet in her hands. The tale of Zack's dreams and honor, the legacy that connects him to Cloud, is revealed in this full in this grand saga that has broken the limits of an HD remaster. So it is just an HD remaster of Crisis Core. However, having gone back and played Crisis Core recently, like within the last year,
Okay.
it's a really good game. I enjoyed Crisis Core a lot. Not having played it originally on the old PSP, when it came out, when I was super heavy into Final Fantasy VII, because I had the misfortune of not owning a PSP. This gives me a chance to play it legitimately on a handheld console again, and with updated graphics, and it actually looks like an updated combat engine. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. If it is just the new Final Fantasy 15 and newer style combat engine, that'll be interesting. I hope they bring the gamble lottery system that they had for special abilities in the original Crisis Core.
Graphics look fucking phenomenal on
yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, they're not quite
recognize her.
They're not quite Final Fantasy VII remake level graphics. But it's somewhere between the remake and the original.
I mean, is nowhere close to Final Fantasy VII original.
No, but it's not. It's honestly not. Like, I would slam it right in between the remake and the Crisis Core original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember the original.
Crisis Core original was like PS 2.25 graphics. Yeah. It was a gorgeous PSP game, I'll say that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and the graphics have been toned down, it looks like, a little bit for the handhelds, the Switch in particular, because it doesn't have the horsepower of the rest of the modern consoles and PC. But it does look really good. Yeah. I mean, getting to know the story of Final Fantasy VII before Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. And like you said, there's probably more than one person who missed out on it because PSPs, man, boy, back in the day, great. Yeah, I think I knew one person that had one.
I knew one person as well.
So I mean, I'm sure there's more than that one guy who missed out on it.
There are definitely a lot more Switch owners than there are PSP.
Right. So that is really cool that they're updating it and providing something. It looks like they did a far sight better job than fucking Rockstar did on presenting their fans a prize. So it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And it's connected to the most popular game, right? So it should be
one of them.
Do well.
Yeah,
do well.
I hope so. Certainly. It will be something that I'm picking up for sure. Yeah,
especially if it's available on other platforms.
What's that?
Oh, no, that was Octopath.
It was Octopath.
Octopath is available on other platforms.
Only?
No, this is available on more platforms than even Octopath. I was
going to say, it's so weird to see a Squeenix game on a Switch.
It's been a while. They don't get a lot of Nintendo love, but this one is on Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series S, Series X, and it's available December 13th, 2022.
Ooh, shit, y'all, that's close.
Yeah.
That's close.
Well, to be honest, the stories are already made, and the assets have been remade already. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake, and since they made all of the assets for Remake, they've been hard at work at remaking all of the Final Fantasy VII games. I wouldn't be surprised to see a return of Dirge of Cerberus.
Yeah, I was going to say if they had the balls to bring that back.
Oh, boy, I hope they do, because playing it on a modern console, having figured out how to play first-person shooters on modern consoles, would be fucking dope.
It was like Square's kind of first real attempt at doing something that wasn't a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
And it played imagine you were a vampire hunter, but playing God of War.
Oh,
okay. Like a weird action shooter.
Yeah.
Alucard kind of.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Dude, I would like to see Dirge of Cerberus because that was a game that so that was really pre-first-person shooter. We didn't have Halo yet when Dirge of Cerberus came out.
Yes, PS2.
It was PS2, yeah. So
So.
I don't even know, because Killzone even came out after Halo. So
Yeah.
I don't know that we had GoldenEye and stuff, but we really we weren't using both analog sticks yet.
Yeah.
For shooters. I mean, really, that was revolutionized by Halo. So it was awkward. Go back and play the old Metal Gear Solid games, right? They're amazing games, but their shooting leaves a lot to be desired, you know? So if we were to get the modern take on Dirge of Cerberus, that would be fucking sick, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what, guys?
What's next?
We've got other games.
We do have more
games.
We've got Endless Dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This one looked fun.
For sure.
Played quite a bit of Amplitude games. So I guess I'm talking.
Well, you started.
I did. Yeah, Amplitude is in an interesting spot. So they have their own world, their own universe, the Endless, which has both fantasy and sci-fi games set in it. Fantasy ones are kind of like a back history to the sci-fi ones. And most of them are like 4X games in the space and whatnot. But this is kind of their second, I think, foray into a non-4X game, a dungeon crawler. This one in particular is co-op that has a few different stages to it. They had a Pixel one, I'm trying to remember what it was called, Dungeon of the Endless, I think, or something like that, very similar. It was okay. But yeah, Amplitude, I wouldn't say their games are bad. They've never had any stellar hits, in my opinion, but this is the first one that I've seen. I'm like, okay, maybe they're going to find their niche here. And I'm always down for co-op dungeon crawls.
Yes.
We don't really have any good ones anymore. So,
yeah,
fingers crossed.
I'm going to say the idea of a procedurally, so it's going to be different all the time playing it, right? It's going to be neat. And it's a co-op thing where you can do it with your buddy. It feels like kind of like, you know, a gauntlet kind of a setup, but in this particular universe. So it seemed like a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Definitely worthy of being showcased. Now, this is also not a Switch exclusive. Nope. It will be coming out on Steam, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and its release date is still to be announced so far.
Indeed.
Yeah, they teased it. God, almost a year ago.
It's been over that. I think the first when I was looking for trailers, I think it was 2 years. Yeah. Let's check Steam right now.
Take your time.
Let's see if they've got a demo.
I don't think so. I just saw it the other day on Steam because I was looking through my wish list. But
also, the game you were trying to think of was Dungeons of the Endless.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Look at you
pulling that from the brain bubbles.
Yeah.
Next up, guys, we've got Fae Farm.
Farm.
And this is upon request from our buddy Josh.
Oh, yes. Now, guys, have you ever wanted to escape to the fairy tale life of your dreams? Well, you can here in Fae Farm. Now, this is a cozy farming RPG for 1 to 4 players. So if you want to drag some of your buddies into the realm of the Fae with you, you can. So you're going to be able to craft, you're going to be cultivating, decorating, to grow your shared homestead. You need that homestead, baby. You need it. Use spellbinding magic to explore the enchanted island of Azonia. So not only are you going to be doing your farming thing, so you got your farming, but you also get to go questing.
Yeah.
Do a little decorating.
A little Stardew Valley, little Animal Crossing.
It definitely has some of those vibes.
Yeah.
So this is from Phoenix Labs. Now this bad boy is Switch exclusive and will be released in spring of 2023. So vague, but in a season.
Yeah. And to be honest, there was roughly 89 farming JRPGs on the Nintendo Direct.
There were, but this one had questing stood out and combat and co-op.
Yeah.
Co-op seems like the biggest draw. It's like you can kind of only really try to remake Harvest Moon and Stardew so many times before you do something new. So multiplayer is a good direction to take it. Now
there is a Stardew game coming out for the Switch. They turned it into a Tale of Seasons title. So if you're more into the Harvest Moon rather. There's a Harvest Moon Tale of Seasons coming out to the Switch as well. That was announced at Nintendo Direct.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that the Rune Factory one, Atelier something or another.
Oh yeah, there was
quite a few little dungeon farming.
And there's a lot of games that we're not going to talk about on the podcast tonight. So make sure you go to videogametango.com/blog. Got links to all the trailers that we're talking about, blurbs for all the stuff that we're talking about, and links to the full Nintendo Direct and Sony State of Play. Speaking of Sony State of Play, we will be getting to that very shortly, but Nick's got something he'd like to talk to you about, and it is a game called Stellaris.
Oh, man, I've never heard of that game.
I know, we only talk about it every once in a while. So something neat is happening. Stellaris, after you play about 100 hours of it, and you feel like you actually maybe kind of know what you're doing.
Well, you've just started playing the game,
playing. It's got its problems, and it's got its benefits, but there are a couple really good, at least in the community, well-known Stellaris YouTubers, A-Spec, Monty Plays, Handful, and they're doing something neat in the fashion of Stellaris Invictus by the Templin Institute a while back, where they're kind of they're going to be playing through in about 10 days a game of Stellaris, where the audience of their channels and their Discord and their Patreon are going to have heavy involvement in it as this kind of emergent storytelling narrative game situation. They're calling it Stellaris Timelines. And how it's basically going to work is they're going to have a series of multiplayer games, like I said, with Montu and Ambiguous Amphibian and A-Spec, a couple of really well-known YouTubers in the little indie gaming scene. And between each game, the YouTube viewers and the Discord people get to help create the lore as to what's happened, to document things that are happening. And people on the Patreon and the Discord are going to get to suggest new empires to add or decisions to make. So when it comes time to do like Galactic Council stuff, you'll get to have input on what they actually do in the game. So this slight ARG situation, narrative storytelling event, which is perfect for what Stellaris does.
Yeah.
Invictus was great. The people who were playing it were relatively new to the game, which kind of brings you out of the immersion if they have problems with it, but they did a fantastic job a couple years ago. So it's great to be seeing that again. Seeing something that I think really, honestly, is probably a first step in this vein of where video games might be going.
Yeah.
Considering how much people nowadays love watching Twitch streamers or YouTubers, and the fact that you have an audience of thousands. We saw stuff like Twitch Plays Pokemon and whatnot. I think this is going to be a burgeoning genre of media where someone of face,
where they're going
like
to
on
get
Twitch,
sci-fi from now on. Like for in the future, is there's going to be like, let's run a game of Stellaris and we'll write down what the fuck. And this season on fucking Stargate, right? Like, I mean,
Pretty much.
I mean, who the
Stellaris has just about every trope you can think of in sci-fi, and it does that for good reason. But, just the idea of having a group of important YouTubers and Twitch players playing a game and the audience getting to interact and be involved and make decisions in it. Excellent idea.
And who knows, what does that lead to next? Maybe that leads to like classic media as well. So if this does really well, I could see a future in which we're looking at more of these types of things occurring and turning into Patreon driven projects where they get the funding to create an animated series or maybe even a live action one. I don't think it's impossible to imagine we are going to see this kind of thing showing up on our TV screens and our movie screens at some point.
At some point, a company is going to get their shit together and take a look at things like L5R and whatnot and say, okay, we're going to make a new universe, Disney, Amazon, whatever. We're going to make a game, and they're going to hopefully make a good game, and people are going to enjoy the game, and then they're going to have Twitch streamers play it, and they're going to make a show based off that game, cough, cough, League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
And the stuff that happens in the show relate to the players' events that happen in the game, which ties back into the show, and all starts folding together. That's how you build immersion. That's how you get people watching your stuff and getting hooked. And we're getting to that point. Video games are getting to the point where they can simulate entire realities. We were just talking about graphics earlier. It gets to the point where you have mo-capped actors who essentially they are acting. They just happen to have a CG skin over them to look like, God of War and whatnot.
And so, I mean, immersion's important for the game. Like, honestly, it's not necessarily like it is.
It's just a hallmark of games that you can't really get in other forms of media. I mean, you can get immersed into a movie or a book,
Sure.
but not in the way you can do a game.
Yeah, not in the way that you can interact with a game, you know.
Part of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really neat. Again, Stellaris Timelines, you can Google that if you're interested in that. If you like sci-fi, check it out.
Yeah, I'll have the link up to the trailer, and we just watched the trailer without any volume, so I'm not sure if
Monty's doing a voiceloover in the trailer explaining basically what I did. But yeah, he's got his own side channel for it. But if you Google Stellaris Timelines, it pops up first thing. So yeah.
So
on to Sony.
On to Sony's State of Play.
Yeah.
Now I have to be honest, gentlemen.
Connecticut.
I'm going to say Florida. Okay. It's Florida. Sony's a bit of a Florida man. So
thankfully, Florida does have Disney World, which is what they showed at the end of their State of Play.
Is it?
If the State of Play was Florida, the last trailer.
Oh, okay. Disney. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. I see what you're saying here. So that we have a heavy hitter for sure. Yeah. So and that's what I was about to allude to. Was honestly, I felt like the State of Play was a little bit of a lame duck. Kind of a bad idea to put it out at the same day as Nintendo Direct, where they're showing off Breath of the Wild sequel. And that's the way I felt up until the very end of the State of Play.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
There's a little something. We'll get there.
I don't want to give it away, but
we'll get there.
Yeah, okay. So, the State of Play, I think it opened with Tekken 8, as I remember. And I was watching. Now, the thing about Tekken, I knew it was a Tekken game.
Yes.
Within the first 3 seconds, what is this, fucking Tekken?
Yeah.
And
that's what I did too.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest.
And I was watching it. I was like, all right, dope. Tekken 8. Hell yeah.
40 seconds of 2 constipated dudes punching each other.
Anytime I think of Tekken, I think of baseball and pizza, because that was the stand-up fighting machine at the local pizzeria we went to whenever we won, lost, or tied a game. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. That's awesome.
Looks a little better now.
It looks cool. It looks pretty cool. I mean, fighting games aren't really my thing.
We are not the crew for fighting games. It's
they're the Kentucky Derby of sports.
Now, to be perfectly fair, I was really heavy into the Kentucky Derby when I was a kid. That's not true. It was fighting games. Super Street Fighter,
Super Smash,
Mortal Kombat.
To be fair, the fighting games when we were a kid, they hadn't found their footing yet.
Yes.
So they were allowed to be broad and fun. Anybody could pick up Killer Instinct or Mortal Kombat or Super Smash and enjoy themselves. Nowadays, you have to practice before you can even play the game. Yeah. It's like learning chess.
Fighters are made for esports now.
Yeah.
And for me, that's not terribly fun. Getting the supreme balance that everybody's looking for in these esports titles now, and not being able to choose Blanca and be OP as shit for for every fight, right? It's taken a little bit of the joy out of fighting games for me personally. Not to say that there aren't good ones and that I don't have fun when I do play them, but I never seek them out. We go over to our buddy Brian's house, and he gets every new Street Fighter, and I enjoy the shit out of playing Street Fighter while I'm playing it. But am I ever going to buy a Street Fighter? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But it was like I said, like that, immediately recognizable as Tekken. So they definitely know what they're doing and are recognizable when they do it.
Yeah.
And that was the opening. But there were, I would say there was a few games that jumped out at me, but only because it's like they were being released here in the United States for the first time, or for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool idea that a bunch of new games or games previously unavailable to gamers, or that's not going to be the case anymore. They're going to be able to play here.
There was a Front Mission.
Front Mission 1 and 2.
Yeah, which is, much in the vein of Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
But just kind of more diesel punky style, old Ring of Red style game.
Which, watching the Front Mission 1 and 2 trailers from State of
Ring of Red was kind of a spin off of that. Yeah.
I would love to see a Ring of Red 2. My God. I went back and, we had Twitch, close your ears for a second, and got a PS2 emulator just to play Ring of Red. And I did. And I enjoyed it immensely, actually. Yeah. Being a little bit older than when Ring of Red came out and we were playing it in the early days.
Yeah.
I understood it better. I grokked the mechanics better. And I had a great time playing Ring of Red. If you've never heard of it, which you probably haven't because it was not a big game, even especially during the PS2 era, check it out. You're not going to be able to find it probably to purchase. Nowadays, I'd consider it a bit retro, but, look, check out a YouTube video of Ring of Red. It's a fantastic game, man.
It actually had a decent kind of story to it. Alternate history where both Russia and the U.S. beat back Japan in World War II, creating a northern and a southern Japan.
Yeah.
This is a heavy diesel punk mech game where the combat is all around trying to control these janky ass, hard to aim mechs to fire these, World War II kind of, like I said, diesel punk tanky.
They even mentioned in the game that with your first mech, they had to use a tractor engine in order to run the mech.
All run down.
Yeah, because the side you're playing is relatively poor.
Yeah.
They're the North Korea of whatever side of Japan they're on.
That is, effectively, yeah. And then you upgrade your mechs and stuff like that as the game goes. Things get better and different, but really good classic gameplay. But that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about Sony's State of Play.
We are.
Yeah, I mean, to just quickly touch on, they showed a handful of JRPGs.
Yeah.
Very Xenoblade Chronicles-esque RPGs. We got one samurai, very vaguely semi-historically accurate game, kind of in the vein of Yakuza, it looks like.
Yeah. From the Team Ninja one. Yeah.
Half of them were from Team Ninja.
Yeah,
that's true.
And then there's another one that looked better that we are going to talk about, which is that the first one up on the list?
That, yes, sir, is Rise of the Ronin.
Mm-hmm. This one looked really good.
So yeah, right on that cusp of guns in Japan, World War II-esque era.
Oh, before then, this is that's Commodore Perry coming in on the Black Fleet, so it's going to be like 1800s.
This really
is 1800s.
Shortly after they opened port.
This is Commodore Perry opening up Japan.
If I remember right, this is 1863 to be 1863 to be specific. Yeah.
When did they open up port or have their ports forced open? It was just shortly before then, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So this is not entirely historically accurate, but it looks like they're attempting to do that. It looks much more realistic than the other one.
Yes.
As far as facial animations and whatnot. But in the vein of Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima, we're getting more awesome period piece games. This kind of looks like if Assassin's Creed was good in Japan.
Yeah. And it's made by Team Ninja. The combat is going to be fun.
Fast and smooth and ridiculous and over the top.
Probably brutal.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, given the trailer, yeah.
Oh, well, and the fact that it's Team Ninja, it's the guys that brought you Ninja Gaiden. Mm-hmm. So I expect it's probably going to be relatively difficult. Not impossible, but relatively difficult. Nick, as I play this trailer one more time, do you want to read the copy there?
Oh, yeah, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I can. All right. Rise of the Ronin is a combat-focused open-world action RPG that takes place in Japan at a time of great change. It is the very end of a 300-year-long Edo period, commonly known as Bakumatsu. Set in the late 19th century, Japan is facing the darkest of times as it struggles with its oppressive rulers and deadly diseases, while Western influence permeates as civil war continues to rage between the Tokugawa shogunate and the anti-shogunate factions. Here, in this time of mayhem, you embody a Ronin character, a warrior bound to no master and free to make choices of its own. Rise of the Ronin is a new Team Ninja experience that will immerse you in an historic English nerd, whatever, in a historically inspired world, while bringing together its renowned combat action with katanas and the likes, with new firearm weaponry that depicts the unique personality of its time period. Again, by Team Ninja, PS5 exclusive, to be announced 2024. Given the state of the trailer, that's surprising. I figured this was going to come out next year.
I was a bit surprised to find out that it was coming out so late.
Yeah.
but it is an open world game, so there is a lot to build there.
Yeah, and we're mostly seeing cutscenes.
Yeah, we're seeing a nice slice, right? We're seeing that nice slice.
A little bit of combat. I mean, we're seeing a little bit of the world as we're seeing the combat too. We're seeing it in the streets, in the forest, and several different environments. But like I said, I was surprised.
Other developers stop making cinematic only game trailers.
Yeah,
I don't need to see still frames from a movie trailer
for sure.
Right,
and honestly, just what a cool time historically.
We don't have a lot of games set in that.
Not a lot of games set in that, and honestly, Japan did something that no other non-European nation did. They revolutionized themselves and then kicked the teeth in of a European power, all within less 50 years of being in the rice hats and like using swords to defeating the Russians in a full-on modern naval battle. So I mean, the rate of change in that period is immense. The only thing that would match it is actually modern day. Like that's right, so fascinating time period to do a
deserving
game
of more content.
Yes.
Should not be passed by the wayside.
If Rise of the Ronin does it well, kudos.
Right.
Yeah. But we'll see in 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. We don't have to wait much longer for the next game that we're going to talk about.
The big boy.
This game needs little to no introduction. We talked about how put out more gameplay trailers. In this case, I am 100% okay with a cinematic trailer. Yes, because this game, along with its excellent gameplay, was already a totally cinematic driven masterpiece in its last form. This game, of course, is God of War Ragnarok, and we are going to play the audio for this one.
Everyone keeps secrets. Sometimes it's the only way to protect the ones we love.
I know you. God Killer. What is it you want from me? Is it a god of war you came to find?
You don't really want war, do you, Kratos? All that blood on your hands, on your son's hands.
What is it you will not tell me?
I can't talk about it, but I just need you to trust me.
We follow your every whim.
But you don't believe in any of it.
And still I follow. Because all that matters is that you are safe.
But that's not all that matters. Who's keeping you safe?
I do not need you to protect me.
You sure about that?
Pretender God! For the old father!
Death can have me when it earns me.
What do you even know of God's word? In your lifetimes, has anyone ever worshipped you? Ever prayed to you? Can you even imagine that kind of love? No! You don't care about anything beyond yourself. Beyond the monster who kills without cause.
Fate only binds you if you let it. Do what is necessary. Not because it is written.
There he is.
We'll make our own destiny.
Isn't he a thick king, y'all?
Boy, oh boy.
Quite the trailer.
Quite the trailer. Now, for those worried that anything's been spoiled, the lead developer of God of War from Santa Monica Studios has said that you haven't really seen anything yet and wouldn't disclose more information on that.
I believe him.
I do too. I think now whether that's I think what we've seen, we're going to see in the game. But what I think that translates to is that the game is as epic as the first one was. And the trailer you got from the first one, while it's not spoiler free, it showcases that we are going to be seeing Kratos. We're going to be seeing Atreus. We're going to be seeing the Norse pantheon, and that is effectively what we get there, right? So while we're seeing some scenes from the game, it seems there's so much more content to be seen that we're given just the smallest shred.
Yeah, I mean, besides the narrative of the trailer basically saying that he's a pretender god and he doesn't know what it's like to be a god and that he needs protection with the help of Atreus from something.
Yeah.
Other than that, they scared the fuck out of the sun. I mean,
yeah,
that's not a spoiler, then that game's going to be pretty epic, right?
Yeah, well,
just a side note, we scared the sun.
So I went back and watched the 2018 God of War trailer, the second trailer, the big announcement trailer.
Is that when he fights Baldur?
Yeah.
Okay.
And having watched that and having played the game, both in the past, I can tell you that those while it's so hard to phrase this, while every scene in there is in the game, there is so really much to the game that it's not. Yeah.
Right,
well, honestly, dude, like that fight with Baldur is in the first 10 minutes in the game.
They definitely showed more. There were like cutscenes from later on in the game, right? So it wasn't just the beginning of the game.
Okay,
it's not really
it becomes pretty clear that Baldur
Right.
is antagonistic to you very quickly.
Yeah.
So, that's just, and honestly, with the events of the first game, you kill one of Thor's sons. Homie's gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
That's just... He's not a forgiving kind of fella, as it turns out.
Yeah.
You know? If you know your Norse mythology.
I am so goddamn excited for this game.
Yes.
Good.
The
series has come a long way.
It has. I played the first God of War. I also played a little bit of the God of War game on the PSP. Funny enough that I never played the PSP, but I've managed to play a couple games on it.
First God of War played like a Hawaiian overshirt that's black with flames on it.
Yeah.
like a Guy Fieri shirt?
Yeah, it was really over the top.
Okay.
It was a game.
Where the difference between God of War then and God of War now is that was Guy Fieri. You're getting food content. You're getting a really knowledgeable, fun, kooky host, right?
This is Anthony Bourdain.
This is exactly what I was going to say.
Is that what you're going to go?
100%.
Yeah.
Where it's not hokey. It's epic, right?
Yeah.
Where it's not like... while it's action driven, it's also very narratively driven. That game had me in tears in multiple points of the game.
Absolutely.
The strongest of tears was when it fucking ended, because all I wanted from that game was more of it. It is a game that I immediately started to play again. So without missing a beat, I hit New Game Plus and I played it about 3/4 of the way through in the next sitting.
That was a glowing review.
It's a fantastic game.
One of my top 10 games of all time, and that is like indisputable. I do not say that with any trepidation. It is 100% concrete, one of my favorite games played of all time.
You should probably play it.
Absolutely. You can borrow my PS4 to play it, dude. I think it's an important game to play.
Yeah.
Because I think even if you don't care for the combat, it's a fantastic it is a still 10 out of 10 game.
There's nothing stopping me from playing other than just I don't have
Sure,
PS4,
for sure. So yeah, it's gonna be something I'm gonna have you borrow. So yeah, God of War Ragnarok is probably my number one pick from all of the games that we've reviewed this year, as far as being able to play it.
Absolutely, it's one of the games I've been looking for. I don't even have a PS5.
Right. Well, you don't have to. You can wait for it to come out on PC. You can pick up a PS4 on Marketplace for cheap. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I don't want to. I want to play that.
You want to play the Ultra version?
I do.
Yeah, I get you. This game is the reason that I would buy a PS5.
Yeah, that's the only. Like that's what I'm thinking. It's like, man,
it's not the sole reason.
Not the sole reason, but a big one.
It is a console seller to me.
Yeah, that exactly. That's like, it's a thumb on the scale.
Yeah.
A big one. And it's like, all right, well, fine.
Well, before we wrap up, Josh, did we get a final review from you about the new Spider-Man game?
Oh, I loved it. It's excellent. No notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No notes. It
struck my mind that I don't remember, hearing about you finishing it. So
yeah,
good.
You've been playing another game recently.
I have been playing another game recently. So last week I picked up on a sweetheart of a deal. Let me tell you, $6, Mass Effect Andromeda. It's fine.
Good night, everybody.
So while there are some things I really dig, like the combat system and how you can pick powers from either a combat build or a biotic build or a tech build, I really enjoy that. The fucking modeling in the I haven't ran into anything game breaking because it's been fucking a long time. They've had the patches. They put the stuff. Yeah, nothing game breaking. But like when humanity's leader into a new galaxy dies, nobody should be standing around looking like this.
Audio listeners, he is making no facial expression at all.
Exactly like facial expression because that's what a few of the people are doing and what everyone in the background is doing. They're just walking around blank facing each other, and it just pulls me right out of the universe. Mm-hmm. This one and that one. So I mean, there are some things to like, and I got it for $6, so I'm not really going to complain about it. But I wish it was a little more Mass Effect-y.
Yeah.
But
what would you give it out of 10?
I would give it a solid 5.
It is a game.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, guys, unless we have anything else, I think it's going to be it for this week.
20 Minutes to Dawn is beta on Android. iOS.
Beautiful.
Runs great. Played it today. Highly recommend it.
Excellent. I don't have any game recommendations because I'm still playing demos from the previous weeks. I'll have some reports on that.
I recommend go back and playing God of War in preparation for the new one.
Honestly, that's probably what I'm going to be doing like this week. Yeah.
That's my game recommendation.
Because it's less than 2 months away. I don't think we even brought up the release date. I just glowed about it for a while.
Like November, right? It's November 19th?
My copy says September 9th. That's not correct. It is
God of War Ragnarok. Technical
November 9th.
difficulties.
Okay.
November 9th.
2 months away.
2 months away.
Right.
2 months away.
That's not very long at all.
Not at all. So yeah, maybe play, dude. If you haven't played the 2018 version of God of War Ragnarok, figure out a way. You've got a buddy that's sitting on a PlayStation 4 because he just got his PS5. Borrow that thing. Play some God of War. Do whatever you have to do. It's worth it. It is a staple game. If there were a game that I had to recommend to somebody that just decided, hey, you know what? Those video game things seem kind of neat. What should I play first? I'd say play God of War.
Oh, what are you playing there, Bobby? A video game? It's God of War, Dad. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for the week.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. I say that like every week.
Well, I mean, come and listen to us at the same Tango time. Same Tango place.
I wasn't done.
Well, you are now.
No, videogametango.com for all the links,
ebomb.com
all the games at the blog.
Tango time, Tango place. the same.